The writing process for Don't Panic was only different in the sense that we had no one to run anything by, or no one to really impress. You know, we made this record completely on our own, kind of cut off from that scenario where you have almost too many cooks in the kitchen a lot of the time.
It was kind of like the parents were out for the weekend and we just had a party.
The time of the record making process, it wasn't really decided where we were going to go. It was more just, okay, we now have the opportunity to make this record unsigned. Let's do that first, and then, you know, figure out what the best road from there to take is. And, you know, Hopeless just kind of ended up being the best thing. We talked to a bunch of people, a bunch of different labels, and the one that really felt like they, you know, had our best interest in mind was, you know, our old home.
I think we're a very unique case as a band. You know, there's not a lot of bands that have had the career that we've had that haven't had the support of radio, anything like that. And Hopeless, for whatever reason it might be, kind of understands that. For us, like, we know where we want to be and we know how we want to get there. And Hopeless is on that same path as us, and it was kind of a no-brainer.
You know, a lot of bands are formed of kids that were in other bands, and we were friends before we were in a band. And it was really one of those things where the band just kind of kept us together. Now, 10 years later, it feels like, you know, we're more family than friends.
I mean, we spend, what, 10 months out of the year like this, pretty much this close.
Wedged
I mean, if
together.
We're not here, we're on stage. Or if we're not on stage, we're on a bus.
Smelly.
And so at some point, as a band, you have to decide, like, and this luckily for us was an easy decision earlier on in the career, like, can we do this as our life, basically? And it was just a no-brainer. But to this day, we've never really had like a falling out. We've never had a discussion of like, should we do this? Should we didn't do this? It's been very easy.
We didn't do this.
Should we do this?
Should we?
Jack and I shared some cocktails.
We didn't go to college. You know, after 10 years, there's never been a time that I've questioned anything.
I think it's because we realize that we can't do anything else. We have no other talents, and we're really good at just sitting on the bus all day.
It's so far from our reality. You know, you can't say, what if I started to hate Alex because I don't know why.
I'm not easy to hate.
That could never happen.
Yeah.
I'm not easy to hate. You know, looking back, hindsight's always 20/20, and it's like, you know, there's songs that we like and there are songs that we don't like as much. And if you follow a band's career, I think that's what makes being part of that kind of thing interesting, because, you know, there are always going to be those songs where you're like, that's a great song, and that is a song that it's a little different for them, but they were probably trying to realize something. I think it's just with each release, with each song written, it just becomes slightly more realized of like where we're going and what the message is, what we're trying to say, and what we're trying to accomplish.
It's your confidence level. I remember years ago going in the studio and just being so terrified to play my drums the way I wanted to, because you have this producer who has done more than I ever thought I could amount to, and so whatever he says goes pretty much for me. And then as a songwriter, I can imagine the same thing. I mean, as a kid, you're learning how to do it, you're taking advice from these people, and then as you kind of come into your own, and as we have built a career, you're kind of just like, okay, I know what I'm doing. You know, I don't need this guy to tell me how to write a song to make a hit or whatever. So it's something you can't teach, is that confidence of being in a studio and writing music.
Spring Fever has been probably one of my favorite tours that we've ever done. The idea came from just us and Pierce kind of noticed that despite the fact that we're slightly different in genre and different in styles, we really had the same fan base. We were seeing a lot of kids coming to our signings in Pierce shirts and vice versa. And we were like, you know, would this make sense to try? You know, are we alienating people, or are we actually uniting two scenes that are not that different?
It was like an experiment gone really good.
We ballsed up and put the tour together, and we for the other bands, we asked a couple other guys that we also have done Warped Tour with and several other tours, Mayday Parade and You Hit 6. So it was kind of just this, like, who are our favorite people to hang out with on Warped Tour? Let's do that again.
The production of the headliners, the co-headliners, us and Pierce,
Yeah.
we have two completely different productions. They have this whole like kind of circus-y,
Tim
Burton-y thing, and we have like kind of just like a lot of lights. It's just like it's two separate shows, so for the kids you're getting two completely different experiences.
Picking a set for us is really, it's like, you know, we have to hit on the songs that I think have defined the band. Obviously, again, there's kind of been a focus on the new stuff because that just makes sense to do.
Yeah, I think we are fortunate enough to have the heads on our shoulders to realize that even though we have played Weightless probably, you know, 1,000 times, these fans haven't heard it. You know, even if they've heard it 3 or 4 times, they still want to hear it the 5th. You know, we've been fans of band when we've gone to a show and they didn't play one of their, you know, bigger songs. So we're pretty stoked that we have that ability to.
MGMT. Talking to you. If something goes wrong, if there's any kind of flub during the set, like my guitar breaks or a string breaks or I trip or like anything, for the next like 3 songs, I'm in a funk.
He stares at the one girl that's singing the wrong lyrics, and he'll be like, and he'll always say like, wait, am I singing it wrong? Like,
It's really deceiving. I'm like, wait, am I wrong? Is she wrong? What's happening here? And then the next thing I know, I'm singing like the next song in the set over the music of the song we're playing. It's bad.
So learn the damn lyrics.